Deep in the Oregon wilds, and 20 fathoms from Portland's bright lights, something refuses to die. A vessel the sand could not bury, and the river could not rot. Its hull stands like a scar in the earth, a vessel stranded between worlds. Once it floated for survival, but now it only drifts in legend. A ghost ship, a UFO in the trees, and it's still watching. The sand smothers, the river gnaws, yet the hull lingers like a wound that won't close. It was built to outlast disaster, but now it survives only as a ghost, not on water, not in motion, only in stories, and only in the eyes of those who dare to find it. In the 1970s, an engineer, a tinker named Richard Ensign, poured a dream from Faro cement. A tri-hull self-rigging concrete boat with foam-filled hulls. 2 sails for wind and a paddle wheel spun by a 6-cylinder car engine. Inside portholes, skylights, and a generator ran electric lights. A wood stove and bunk beds. This was not a toy. It wasn't a weekend cruiser. It was built cheap, tough, and for hard times. Its maiden voyage slipped down the Willamette in 1973, where the brown water meets the gray Columbia, a strange craft among tugboats and barges, a concrete art with sails like teeth and a paddle wheel driven by a car engine. The crew was just a small handful of believers, but the hull was built to cradle 12 souls. Bunks lined the interiors. Portholes stared outward like unblinking eyes. A wood stove exhaled smoke through the chill, and a generator thumbed enough power to keep the cabin lit against the river's darkness. For 3 months, a family made it a home. They cooked, they slept, they argued, and they dreamed. Inside a vessel meant for collapse, not comfort. Some mornings, they woke at an angle. The tides had lifted the hull and set it down crooked against the bank. The world outside felt unstable, but inside the boat, survival itself was being rehearsed. It's not a luxury. It's not an adventure. It was an experiment in defiance, a rehearsal for the end of times. In 1996, this vessel would sail its last voyage. The Columbia flexed its muscle and pushed it up onto the sand, out of its element. It came to rest at Collins Beach, high above the line where the river usually breathes, not afloat, not adrift, but stranded, half swallowed by cottonwoods, at the edge of a sandbar where strangers bare their skin to the sun. Seasons circled, plants bloomed like wounds, vines laced themselves through the seams and scars, and the rust became its second skin. Portland whispered a nickname, half a joke, half an exorcism, the UFO of Sauvie Island. Its interior is treachery, jagged glass, collapsing floors, iron edges eager for blood, but it's worth the exploration. It sits now, in daylight, under sharp sun, and the pale wash of sky, a vessel abandoned, and yet alive in the hush of its broken frame. At dusk, the portholes glint, vines crawling, paint peeling like old secrets. By night, it becomes a silhouette in the moonlight, a hulking shape between the cottonwoods. Some say they've heard it creak when no wind moves. Others whisper of lights, faint, erratic reflections. The graffiti neon flicker through the portholes. A few visitors post online forums that the thing was stranded there. It kind of freaked them out. We just came up on it. A childhood memory. A 4-year-old, Charlie Smith. Decades later remembering a floating fort, an adventure of all our lives. The craft awaits for you, perhaps to sleep on its threshold, to leave the footsteps or sit in the sand, to whisper your story in its corridors of rust. It awaits in daylight for explorers with cameras. It awaits in darkness for legends to be born. Make your memory here. Leave behind your ghost story, because this boat, this hull, is rooted in the river's pulse, but also in ours. In its decay, there is promise, not of ruin, but of remembrance, of more myths gathered, more ghost imagines waiting for you.